I don't do it. I got it. Well. I guess if I'm live, somebody's listening to me and can actually hear me and may be able to tell that I am suffering from extreme technical difficulties, or in my case, improvements. So, I'm going to assume that I can be heard. And although there's nobody here, maybe there's 4 people, I am going to come on the screen in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And yes, I am in a wife beater because that's just the way it's going to be tonight. I won't even try to explain why. I'm just going to keep on rolling. And hopefully that'll be okay. This is not the COVID concert series. This is Pwym. Pwym is a talk show that I am launching brand new. And it's about talking. Just talking. Nothing in particular. Just whatever comes up. I do have a guest. And I'm going to see if I can get my guest on the phone. I definitely hope I will be able to. And let me just find out if I can or not. It's going to be interesting. And anybody that knows me knows that I'm a perfectionist, and I usually don't roll like this. But it is what it is. I'm going to find out how to rock this.
Hello?
Hey.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad at all.
Awesome.
How was your day?
Eventful, but I'm not complaining.
Do me a favor and don't. Any idea why?
Why?
Because nobody really don't care.
I know, right?
I mean, they will say they do, and they'll be but they really don't care.
I got you on that.
Good. Keep me on that.
Yes, sir.
So, how did you say your day was? Eventful?
Yeah, eventful.
How so?
I've just been running all day, doing things coming up. I got family out in Houston and Dallas that's without power, and things have been crazy trying to help them get situated. And it's just been an eventful day.
Without power because of the weather?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Needing clothes and water and all kinds of stuff.
All of that, yeah. I know how it goes.
Yeah, so I've done a lot more than I anticipated doing today. But again, I'm not complaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do me a favor. Don't.
I won't.
You know why, right?
I know why.
Tell me why.
People don't care.
I mean, I don't think people are insensitive, but, instead of complaining, just tell them what you want. Like, hey, instead of just telling the story, just say, "Hey, I want or need this," and then maybe you can just get it and be okay.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So you remembered that I was going to be calling you.
I did when you called.
Also, it just popped. I was going to be calling you from my studio line, but I've got all kinds of stuff going on in here. I actually did a gig on Sunday. It was my first live gig since COVID started. So I
Okay.
unplugged all of my stuff in the studio, and I just waited to the last minute to start plugging up, and just stuff wasn't working. So I had to go to my reliable laptop that I'm on right now, and it seems to be working. I have no idea what's going on out there. I do have one of my technicians saying that she can hear me. Okay,
Awesome.
that's good. I have hideout people that'll listen to me because it tells me that I have 4 or 5 viewers, but nobody's, touching bases. I guess they kind of want to see what's happening first.
Right.
Um, do you remember what my live talk show is about?
Refresh me.
Okay, I will. I'll gladly. Um, it's called Pwym, and it's SWYM and PWYM, and it stands for Say What You Mean and Play What You Mean. I think when I'm talking, I'm trying to either say what I mean and have whoever I'm talking to say what they mean. And when we play, just so happened coincidentally, I play an instrument. So it's, playing what I mean, I'm playing off of that. But when we go to work, we can consider whatever our trade is a type of play too. So if we're working or if we're just talking, we're saying what we mean and we're playing what we mean. So
Mhm.
that's why it's called Pwym. But what it's about is I've noticed over the past couple of years that I've done some personal research on myself in particular. Um, how many times in communication people don't hear what you're saying, or they don't understand what you mean, or sometimes when in communication people don't allow a conversation to get, to the point where there's some type of agreement. We hear something and we get in our feelings, and before you know it, somebody's mad and they're not talking to the other one, or worse, they're fighting. Or how about this? They will kill somebody over, $25. Just
Mhm.
because a lack of communication is going on. So what I've done was I've tapped into what I call one of my special gifts, and I believe I have the gift to listen,
Mhm.
analyze, not just my own situations, but other situations, and remove my personal thoughts, feelings, and beliefs from a situation to actually get to the truth and what's really actually happening. And what I also find is many people that are, emotional or in their feelings, for lack of a better word, don't really care about the truth. If what's going on isn't making them feel good, they don't want to hear it. And that's why, there's a lot of frustration, not only in personal relationships, but in businesses and in marriages and even in the world
Mhm.
because of, emotional input, getting caught up in how we feel instead of what's really real. So, um, although I don't have a map as of yet, I know I have a vision. I know I have a gift. I know that I have the ability to listen, analyze, and maybe even solve some of the problems, especially when it comes to conflict, because I believe I have the ability to listen without involving my personal feelings. So when I get someone on the phone, um, or even in person, I don't really have to have a topic or a subject. I just have a conversation,
Mhm.
and I analyze the conversation for what it's really and truly worth. So since you are my guest, um, and I know where I'm going, I'm just going to choose any route to get there. I'm just kind of we're just going to talk about a scenario, maybe something that's going on, with this power thing out in Texas. That's where you say your people are, right?
Yes.
So just why don't you just share one of your scenarios and let's just talk about it. I mean, I know it's family, and if it's too personal, that's fine. And if you'd rather just change the subject to something else, I'm okay with that. I mean, we can just pick something random. I'm okay with that too.
Oh no, it's no problem. I have family and a few friends out in out in Texas, of course, being affected by this whole winter storm thing that's going on out there. And the most recent one that I spoke with just moments before you called, her situation is that their cell towers are down. They've been going in and out the last 2 days. She doesn't have any power, of course, any heat. She needs drinking water, and she needs more clothing to layer up because it's so cold out there. And so, of course, we're doing all that we can to try to get funds to them and just help in any way that we can. But I think it can be emotionally overwhelming, especially when it's something that you've never really experienced. She's not gone through this before, so I've been trying to just talk her through it and keep her encouraged through the process.
Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, as bad as it is, there's something for her to learn. There's something for you to learn. There's something we can all grow from if we just tap into it. Because you know what could happen? She could get caught up in the fact that, oh my God, I don't have water, I don't have food, I don't have power. And of course, those are needs we have to tap into and attend to. But if we listen sometimes to that still small voice, there's a lesson in it. There's something we can get out of it. So I don't believe, I believe there's something good in even things that don't always feel good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, most definitely.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm somebody passed away today. I heard. Was it Rush Limbaugh? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook. I didn't read any articles, but I did see a few people posting about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did pass away.
Are you a fan of him at all?
Not really.
Oh, really? You know who he is, right?
I do.
Uh-huh. But you're not really a fan of his.
Not really. I mean, I respect his work, but I wouldn't say I'd be a fan.
Okay.
But I do respect his work.
Okay, that's fair. Because I respect his work too. Considering he's in broadcasting, and
right.
I could call him a journalist in many ways. I'll miss him. I didn't always agree with some of his topics, or maybe even the way he delivered some of them. But as you said, I'll be safe and say I respect his work too, and he will definitely be missed.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Rush Limbaugh, and thank you so much for all that you've brought. All of us, the ones
Absolutely.
who are supporters and those who are not. I respect the art. Mm-hmm. Somebody else passed away too.
Oh, did they?
No, of course. I'm saying people pass away every day, but I'm saying somebody else recently passed away. I'm drawing a little blank right now. But while we're on the subject of journalism, who's your favorite journalist? Who do you like to listen to or watch, either on TV or radio or the internet?
I would say more kind of torn with that one. I'm torn between Oprah and I love Oprah, actually. She probably would be my number one. But I also like Anderson Cooper.
Okay. Why do you like Oprah?
I like what she represents. I think she's, coming from her humble beginnings, I think she's, set a great example for women of color. I think that, she has shown how to overcome, and she just keeps kind of making it happen. Even after she got out of, doing the show and everything like that, she still kind of shows you how to kind of reinvent yourself and just keep making things happen.
Mm-hmm. So you like everything about her?
Well, not particularly. I won't say everything. I don't know everything about her to like everything about her, but from what she portrays in the journalism space or the media space, I pretty much love her. Philanthropic space, all of that. I like what she does.
Do you find her to be biased in any way?
Oh yeah, I think everyone's biased in a way. I don't agree with everything that she's said or done. I do think that she shies away from things, but I think that you know, people have to do what's best for them, and that's what people do.
Mm-hmm. What about Oprah do you find biased or that you may not care for?
I didn't like she didn't in some instances where we were going through the whole um, times where they were talking about how certain celebrities were getting convicted and things like that. I think the guy was Harvey. I forgot his last name.
Weinstein.
Yeah, Weinstein. That's it. She didn't speak out about that, and she was close to him and had a relationship with him, and things like that. I think that those are things that she could have said something about, but at the end of the day, again, people are going to do what's best for them and what's best for their brand.
Right.
So I think that she could have done a little bit better in that area, but it is what it is, I guess.
Well, I don't know a lot about, that story except what I just see kind of in passing. But you think she may have known something about what he was accused of and kind of kept it tight-lipped because of her branding and because of, her profession?
I wouldn't go so far to say she knew, but once it came out, I think that she could have said something to just let women know, hey, we're not with this, or I'm not with this. I don't stand for this. I'm not an advocate of this, even though this may be someone that I have a relationship with. At the end of the day, this is not something that I support.
Mm-hmm. But she didn't do that, to your knowledge.
Not to my knowledge.
Right. Okay. Well, mine either. I think as it relates to her, I think she's a little biased in some areas.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to say what areas is she biased in?
I'm saying because I know you're going to tell me.
Oh, you know that. Well, this is just my opinion. I mean, it's just me. And I'll go back to, I guess, the 80s. A lot of her shows seem to be centered around the negativity of men,
Okay.
black men in particular, if I may. And this is just what I observe. I notice a lot of her shows seem to be that way, and I won't get into that because I just won't. But I don't have a problem with her. I just am not a huge fan. I liked her in The Color Purple.
Of course.
Yeah. And I think she does a lot of work, to support, people, women in particular. I don't think she's a fan of men. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if I would completely agree with her not being a fan of men. I think that she's just a woman. I can say it's difficult to be in a power position as a female and deal with men because it's like this power struggle thing. So I don't know if I would say she's not a fan of men. I just think she may, have had many battles, and she acts like she acts
now. When you say in her position in dealing with men, what do you mean?
Just in a position of power. I mean, she's a millionaire, billionaire, whatever she is.
Billionaire.
One of the top journalists ever. She's Oprah. I mean, it is what it is. She is who she is, and it takes mature people to be able to deal with people that are on that level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like I said, I know that just from being in power positions myself, sometimes dealing with men is just not easy.
Really?
Yeah, really.
So dealing with women is easy.
Sometimes it's easier to deal with women than it is to deal with men when it comes to the power aspect.
Give me an example.
Uh, let me come back to that. My
It's
brain
okay.
is foggy right now.
So you're just saying, generally speaking, though, you personally, or generally speaking, you think women are easier to deal with than men?
When it comes to positions of power, yes, sometimes, and it's not all the time. I think it varies, but I'm just kind of responding to what you're saying about Oprah having a problem with men.
Okay. And you don't have a general example of that?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay. Well,
I'll keep thinking throughout the course of the conversation.
yeah.
I'll let
Well,
you
yeah.
know.
You've got homework to do because I would like to hear your
Okay,
example.
certainly.
Our monk just said that Frederick Casey Price. That's who it was that passed away.
Oh yeah. I know. I love him. My dad used to watch him when I was a little girl, so
Mm-hmm.
I love him and everything he represented.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a good guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know who else I miss too? Dr. Miles Monroe.
Oh man, that's a whole different level right there.
Mm-hmm. Not to take away from Dr. Price, but I'll just go on record saying that Dr. Miles is the guy who actually introduced me to I don't know, to I guess some of the first efforts of me kind of tapping into myself, because he had this series about fatherlessness. And he was a guest at a church service that I attended many many years ago. And I'll never forget that. You know. Anyway, we can have that conversation another time. But he's the guy who's responsible for me understanding, how fatherlessness not only affected myself, but many people,
Yeah.
women, girls in particular. Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's just amazing. I remember I was in college. I got my bachelor's degree in 2005, and since when we had that conference that he was a guest speaker at, I started doing all of my papers and presentations on the effects of fatherlessness in society. And it really helped me a lot to help understand some things about myself. So to both of those, Dr. Price and Dr. Miles Monroe, may they rest in peace. And we can go and hear. I listen to Dr. Miles 2 or 3 times a week,
Yeah.
easy. So his legacy continues to live on in and through me.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
He was a great man, a great orator, great preacher, great motivational speaker.
Mm-hmm.
All of that.
When I talked to you earlier and we were setting up this opportunity to speak, you said we had a conversation before.
Yes.
Do you remember that conversation?
Vaguely. I don't remember all of the details. But I do remember having the conversation.
Right. Did I hear you say something about it not going too well?
Yeah.
But you don't remember.
I don't remember the details of the conversation.
It was Dr. Maya Angelou who said sometimes people don't remember what you said, but they remember how a situation or a person made them feel.
Right.
So for you to
That's
say
true.
it didn't go too well and now you don't remember what it was about, you didn't feel too good from that conversation.
Yeah, no, I don't think either of us felt too good from that conversation.
But you have no idea what it was.
I don't remember. I really don't.
See, now that might, lend itself even to, what I'm talking about. You remember how you felt, but you don't remember what it was about. Was that
Right.
even worth feeling bad about?
I think in the moment, yes. I don't think it was something worth, continuously feeling bad about or, holding a grudge about.
Well, not a grudge. You and me, we're cool. We don't hold grudges. But there
Well,
was
you know what
something
I mean.
about. Say it again.
I said, well, you know what I mean. Just being, angry or upset or, as you said in earlier, in my feelings or in our feelings, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure I kept it. Maybe we should check that out one day.
I don't know if we should.
Do you recall? Do you recall any of my other broadcasts, like some of my podcasts, rather? Didn't I have you listen to one or two?
I don't think I listened to a podcast of yours.
No. Well, there's a few that kind of got me on this. And again, I don't feel bad at all that we're just kind of on here rattling because of where I know we're going. I'm going to look back at these particular beginnings and say, yeah, I knew where I was going. I was just, getting used to hearing myself and listening to people and, being in front of the camera, not playing the saxophone,
Yeah.
so it's all kind of practice. And, we're chatting, but I believe it's going to happen. And let me tell you, let me just go ahead and put it out there. What I would really like to do, I would like to, how people consult, lawyers, or they'll go to a doctor, and I don't have a degree in law or a doctorate degree in anything, definitely not medicine. But I do believe I have the gift to listen and hear, as I said to you earlier, removing, emotions and feelings and detecting when other people are, involving that. So, to be able to listen to scenarios, and I thought, I'm calling the podcast Swym Pwym, but I think I want to examine scenarios, and I want people to consider sharing their scenarios with me for me to analyze. And I know that there's probably a market for that, and there are professionals who do that. Maybe they call them psychiatrists or psychologists, and that's not what I'm trying to be. I'm just trying to be a listener or an analyzer, from a layman's perspective. I don't have to write a prescription. I don't have to bill any insurance or anything. I can just, listen to a conversation or listen to, the details of a situation and just kind of do that. And I really, I feel strong about it, and I want to be able to do it.
Okay.
So Captain Tub is saying it's nice to hear and see more of my personality. Peace
That's
from,
awesome.
yeah, from the LBG. The LBG is where I'm from. We call it the LBG, short for Laurinburg, a little city in North Carolina.
Okay.
So thanks, Tub. Appreciate you. Why don't you do me a favor? Let me just do a little plug. My email is travisbridges2@aol.com. That's Travis Bridges and the number 2. And what I'd like for people to do is just send me an email and then just tell me a scenario. It can be politics. I really want to test out what it is I think I'm tapped into. When we were kids growing up, particularly in church or in religion, or I'll just say in church, if you had a calling, especially if it's in the ecclesiastical ministry or whatnot, there was a process where you would go and you would tell your pastor and say, hey, I got the calling from God. And then they would kind of analyze you, and then they'll start prepping you for, whatever work it is you believe or you're called into. You don't have that, outside of the church. So, thanks to social media, everybody's trying to come online and do something or say something, and I guess it is an outlet. And I really believe I have something. I was about to say your name. I'm not saying names, right?
I know.
Yeah, I was about to say I believe I have something special, and I want the opportunity to try it out. And people will hurry up and let you know. Like right now, we're just kicking it around, we're talking, and I long for the day when I can, analyze, not from a judge perspective, but just from an analytical perspective, just listening to the details and pointing out how something may or may not be facts, or even truth, or even relevant, to solving a problem or dealing with chaos of
Yes.
any capacity. So I guess people are doing that in other areas, but I think that's unique. I think it's special. I don't think I'm crazy because I want to do that. What are your thoughts? Come on, help me out. Don't leave me by myself. What are your
No,
thoughts
no.
of me having the idea of wanting to hear people's scenarios, just to analyze them from my ability to not add my personal thoughts, feelings, or beliefs in?
I think it's awesome. I think that we need more of that. Actually, I think a lot of times we struggle and we fail in the area of communication. And I think that doing something of the sort, would help people to be better communicators overall. So I think it's an awesome thing to do.
So you notice that too. Then you notice how egos, in particular, will get in the way, and people won't talk. People will call you a name and either hang up the phone and walk away from you, or say something bad, and then they'll just be anger, or frustration, and then you just people just go not speaking. But so you notice that too. Why do you think that is? Why can't we solve some of the problems we have in society, particularly amongst each other, like in a personal and even marriages? Why can't people solve problems? Why can't we just get along? Tell me
Well,
why.
well, I think it has a lot to do with the person, their personality, their upbringing, their background, their culture. A lot of us, aren't taught how to forgive, the importance of forgiveness, the importance of reconciling and things like that. And I think that it, eventually shows when we're in conflict.
Well, how important is it to examine what's going on and be okay with you know, not liking the truth or facts, but accepting it? What? How important is that? And why isn't that encouraged? Why are feelings and beliefs so heavily injected into reality?
Because we most of the time operate and function and respond and react based upon how we feel.
And there's nothing wrong with that. We um, you know, you could be mistaken as being insensitive because if
Mm-hmm.
you say, "Hey, you can remove your feelings from something," you don't have to be insensitive, especially in time of conflict. If I could quote the Bible says, "Let's reason together." The reason that's in the Bible, and it's good. It's the good news. It's logic, even that you should reason, and especially in times of conflict,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding that it's okay to not like we don't know how to deal with discomforts, things we don't like.
Right.
When you don't like something, you have to be able to say, is it right? What is that? Come on now, I'm going to need your help. What is that? I think it's a proverb that says, whatsoever is good, whatsoever is true, whatsoever is lovely, of a good report, think on these things. Come on now, Bible scholar, help me out. What scripture is that?
That's Philippians 4:8.
You knew it. Look at you. So Philippians 4:8, it talks about, thinking on those things. And it's in the, Bible, for a reason. And, reasoning together, you got to think on those things. And when you realize that something is good, it's true, it's of a good, it has good energy, why would you let your inner beliefs, feelings, and thoughts and emotions overpower something that's good and true and of a good rapport?
Well, I think that it's one of those situations where it's mind over matter.
Mm-hmm.
A person has to be in tune with themselves to be able to think on those things. Because our feelings, our emotions can go haywire, and it takes discipline to be able to do that. And if you don't have that level of discipline, then you get those results of where people let their feelings take over, or put their feelings in the forefront, opposed to just stopping and saying, okay, let me brace myself, let me rethink this, let me take control of this. Just mind over matter, I think.
Well, how do you get that discipline? Where do you
Well,
learn that from? How do you get it? How do you even bring awareness to it?
well, through conversation, definitely, and I think meditation, prayer, um, just spending time with yourself, spending time with God, whatever your higher power is. If you're not Christian, of course I'm Christian, so I believe in Jesus, and I think that's spending that quality time with Him, and meditating, and of course praying and fasting. I think those are things that help us to get that level of discipline that is needed to be able to effectively communicate to the point where we're not allowing our feelings to take over.
Mm-hmm. You just said something that got my attention. You said you're Christian and you believe in Jesus. I was raised in a Christian environment, and the teachings of Jesus Christ is what I try to live my life by and base my life by. I think Jesus is just all right with me. That song from the 70s? That's just where I am. However, I don't have a flag that I wave, in regards to, my subscription to any particular religion, especially public. If we're having a conversation right now, I'll go ahead and say, okay, yeah, I live a Christian lifestyle. I was raised in a Christian home. And if there was a religion that I would, confess to, it would be Christianity. So I'll go ahead and say that, just so I can just put it on record. However, I have this thing when it comes to how people use or visualize God/Jesus or a higher power. How is our own inner being? Because, even as a kid, I used to look at people, particularly in church, and they're looking up into the sky, and they say that God lives in the sky, and I've never been able to connect to that, even as an adult Christian. I have trouble talking about God and seeing Him as a man. Oh God, I hope I don't get in trouble talking about a religion and sex and politics, but we're on it now. I have a problem. Well, not a problem. I'm just not comfortable with referring to the supreme being as a man, and people say He is all the time. He is omnipresent. He is this and that. How does the supreme being get a gender?
Well, there is no gender when it comes to the Spirit of God. There's even a scripture in the Bible. It's Galatians. There is neither Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, male nor female, for y'all are one man in Christ Jesus. So when it comes to that, you don't look at Him as a man or the spirit being. You look at it as what it is, which is spirit. And when you look at it as spirit, then you know that it can move in and through whomever, however. When we bring clarity to the He of when we talk about God, because that's what the Bible says. When the Bible refers to God, it refers to God as a He. That's just as an authority, because man was created.
So wait, come on. I don't want to break your train of thought. Please keep your train of thought. But does the Bible refer to God as He?
The Bible does.
Wow.
There are many scriptures in the Bible that when it talks about God, it says He or Him.
Wow. Wow. I'm not going to say I didn't know that, because I'm sure I read that at some point in time. But that's amazing. So then, so the Bible, is a guide for Christians. So then why, I guess saying He is correct.
Yeah, if that's what you're going by.
Well, so then how does that, how do women deal with, well, no, how do I say this? What does that say that, the supreme being is male, or a male, as referred to as gender, as a male one, because that's what He means. What does that say about the female gender? Or does it say anything? It doesn't mean anything? How personally do you, is it fair that God is.
I think it's fair. I think it's fair.
It's fair that God is a man and not a
Yeah,
woman.
I don't see me personally. I don't see it as unfair. You know, if you read the Bible, study the scriptures, then you know that when the woman was created, she was created from the man. She was bone of his bone. She was flesh of his flesh. And so she was a part of who he is and what he was. And so, you know, ultimately, man was made by God in the image and the likeness of God. And so, as I just said earlier, a moment ago, we are all one in Christ Jesus, and so we are all kind of connected. I don't consider it unfair.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't know. I guess I can't imagine being a woman, but maybe I would feel some type of way if
Nah,
no,
nah.
no. So then the Bible also talks about um, a woman being how does it go? The weaker vessel. Uh, is that anyway? Is that what? How does that lend itself to God being a man and then a woman? You know, maybe not having any problem with that. I don't know. I guess if I was supposedly created, well, if I was, well, I am. I've got to be careful what I say. Being created in the image and then the image of that supreme being not being what I am, I would feel kind of cheated. No, women don't feel cheated.
No, I don't. I don't think so. I mean, I can say. Let me speak for me. I don't feel cheated. I've never felt cheated in that regard.
Are
I
you
think.
afraid to feel cheated?
Say that again.
Are you afraid to feel cheated? You feel like it's disrespectful to God to feel like you got cheated for being a woman, and if He's being a man and we're created in
Nah,
His image. Do you think?
nah.
Do you think when it said man was created in His image, does that apply to females too? Right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I do.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you gotta study the scriptures.
Maybe that's my problem.
Yeah, you gotta study the scriptures. You gotta learn, learn of the Lord, and there are scriptures in the Bible that talks about the creation of man, the creation of woman, and even in Genesis when it talks about God making man and woman, there is a scripture that says, and He created them, male and female created He them, and He blessed them, and He called their name Adam. So
Adam.
it's all one and of the same.
Hmm. Okay.
So, like I said, as a female, I personally don't feel cheated. I'm not afraid to feel cheated. But of course, I know, a lot about the scriptures.
Hmm. What I guess we don't have to say your name, but I will let my audience know. Let me just take a little break to say this. If you're listening or watching, and thank you in advance, and I'm not despising small beginnings. But if you're listening right now and you'd like to chat with me, I'd appreciate it. What I'm trying to do is analyze communications and conversations, particularly conflict, for what it's worth. I believe I have the gift to do that, to remove, personal beliefs, feelings and thoughts, from, truth that is presented or facts or evidence that is presented in a conversation. And I want the opportunity to be able to have my input in situations because I believe I can bring about peace if people are willing to, put aside that. So if you're watching, listening, checking me out, Travis Bridges and the number 2 at AOL.com. That's Travis Bridges 2 at AOL.com. Just send me an email and just put in there, call me in the subject, and I'll call you. We can do it live or, pre-recorded. I just like to get into a good conversation, and it's just a matter of time. I'm going to get into one, and then it's going to be like wildfire. It's going to catch on, and before you know it, people will be saying, well, I kind of like to get his opinion because I really do. I believe I have a gift, and until I am proven wrong, I'm going to continue to believe that, and I'm going to continue the efforts of coming in here on Wednesday night. Man, I had a crazy day too. I was really tired. I didn't even change my shirt. I was told today to go put some clothes on, because I was wearing, this is, well, another story, but I just felt like just being myself, and I am in my home studio, and I am home, and I want to be accepted for who I am and not be judged because I'm not wearing a suit and tie. I probably won't come in here with a t-shirt on of this nature in the future, but I just felt like it tonight. Please forgive me, y'all, okay? God ain't mad at me, so don't y'all be. Anyway, so yeah, Travis Bridges in the number 2, and let's talk about it. Okay, well, we're like 42 minutes in, so that means we've got about 18 more minutes to go. And you said you were going to think about what our conversation was, or you were going to give me a scenario as it related to Oprah or something. But I kind of want to hear from you about something. Something's going on. What do you have a strong opinion about that's going on today? What are your thoughts on COVID? What are your thoughts on the wearing the mask? What are your thoughts on the job situation, the changing of the president? Let's just pick something so that we can analyze what we think, feel, and believe, and weigh it against what really is. So you want to pick one of those subjects and then let's rock and roll, or you want me to pick one?
Sure, I'll talk about COVID.
Okay, let's go. Let's talk about it.
I'm for mask wearing. I was directly affected by COVID. I didn't have it or anything like that, but someone in my church congregation did have it. And when it first started out, they were saying, it's affecting the older population. Young people don't really have to worry about it. Children don't really have to worry about it.
Dogs didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
cats and yeah.
I was believing that until one of the young ladies in our church got it, and she didn't make it, and she was only 29 years old. She passed away in July.
So sorry.
So I'm all for the mask wearing and just staying safe, the social distancing, all of that. I don't, being in our area, which is pretty much a hot spot, I think that we can be a little bit more careful with it. I'm for the vaccine as well. If it's going to help flatten the curve, then whatever it takes, because I've seen up close and personal what this thing does to people, and it's not pretty at all.
Mm-hmm. So, have you had the vaccine yourself?
I have not. I am actually going to speak with my doctor next week when I go to see if I can go ahead and get it. I'm immunocompromised, so I have to be very careful. I have to get clearance from my doctor for almost everything, so I'll next week when I can get it.
Okay. So you said you're for it. What do you think of people who are not?
I don't have any, I think to each his own, but I think that, you run the risk you run of problems from taking the vaccine is not probably worse than the risk you run from actually catching the virus and, ending up in a worse off state.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's knock on some wood and thank God for us being able to be strong and healthy and, have been able to, avoid, having complications from that. I'm grateful.
Oh, yeah.
I get frustrated sometimes every time I run out the house, especially if I'm in a hurry. It's like, earlier today I was running out and I didn't have my mask. And I said some words that I don't know if God would be happy with me because I had to turn around and come back and get a mask. And I was not happy. I thought maybe, why can't I just go in a store just one time without a mask just to go get what I want? Because I forgot.
I just keep 5 of them in my car so that if I forget one, I know I got one somewhere in there.
But you know what I have a problem with? I don't know if it's just, the way I'm born or what, but the ones that go around your ears, they hurt so bad.
They do hurt. Yeah,
so I'm not the only one?
Very uncomfortable.
Oh my God, I put that thing on. I thought my ear was going to fall off. It's like all the circulation cut. Because, I think I've got a big head and I think I stretch it so far. And maybe that's the reason why. So I'll get a bandana or I'll get the scarves and I'll just cover up. And I just pray before I put it on. I mean, like, God, just keep me protected. But to put the thing on my face like this, it just feels like a mask. And I just can't do it.
Yeah, they do hurt. They do hurt. They're not comfortable, and they're even worse for people like myself who wear glasses. It's like, aggravating, but I wear it.
Um, the presidency. Let's change gears for a quick second. The presidency. What do you think of your new president?
Well, I think we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Is what I think. I don't think we can get any worse than what we had. I can tell you that much.
Why is that?
I personally think he was racist.
What?
Yeah, I think he covered it up well.
Why would you say that about that man?
Well, you asked.
I did ask, but what did he tell you he was racist? Did he call you on the phone and say?
I didn't say. I said I personally think.
I heard you.
Racist. He didn't tell me that. I'm just telling you how.
Well, why do you feel that way about him?
What my feelings are overriding everything else. My emotions.
Tell me what he did that says he's racist.
I think that he could have responded better, a lot better to the police killings of black men, black people in the nation. Most times when there was something, he barely said anything. I think he kind of started doing things for black people, more openly as his term was ending, to try to prove a point. I don't think it was genuine at all. I just think that all of the racial injustices could have been better handled by him, and it makes me feel like he's racist.
So that means the president before him did all these things that you're saying that he didn't do?
No, not all of the things. I don't think that any one of them is perfect, but I do know that the last 4 years have been crazy, and I just don't feel like we could get any worse.
So you really are expecting a big difference, with the new?
Nah. I'm not expecting a big difference. I'm just kind of speaking from a place of relief that we have something different.
So you think it was what is the worst thing you think you think there was in regards to the last president? What is it that you feel was? I mean it doesn't get much worse than racist. If you feel like he was racist, and I heard your reason why, is that the worst thing you think you endured as a person living in this country? That is that the worst thing? What do you think the worst? What was the worst thing? How do I say? What was the worst? What is the word I'm looking for? What was the greatest negative impact you think this last president had on the country? Something in particular. When you say racism, and then you give me that, your response, that's kind of subjective, and I respect, your thoughts about it. And there's some truth to that. And if the president, or the presidents before didn't do the same thing, I'm not sure why this one is getting called out so much more. But I get it. I respect it. I respect everybody's thoughts.
I mean, people that have been killed by police during his presidency. So, that's one reason why.
Well, you do know there's so much more. I mean, I think this probably the same amount where it's just like, because we have, I think that might be related to there being more witnesses in the forms of cameras capturing it. I think, it's probably all been happening before. We just see more of it now because of that. So yeah, what is the greatest negative impact, or is that it?
No, I think well, that's major for me. I just think he could have handled those situations better. Could have acknowledged their families. Could have done something more than what he did. But I think that the attack at the Capitol probably was the worst thing.
You really think that was his fault?
I don't think it was totally his fault, because he didn't, make them do what they did. But I think he played a major part in it, and of course, we're still seeing the effects of it now.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying you're not expecting a big change with the new administration coming in? Do you think there's going to be a big difference?
No, I don't expect a major difference. I think, like I said, I'm just relieved to know that there is something there that's different.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of who the president is, they're not going to please everyone, and someone's going to find fault. That's just life. You can't please everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think there will be much of a difference. I could be wrong, but I'm relieved to know that there will be some difference.
Mm-hmm. Even if it's no difference.
Yeah. Just having a different face. A different face in the White House.
So is it safe to say you didn't like the last president?
Oh, yeah, that's very safe to say.
You didn't like him?
I don't even say his name.
Uh-huh. I didn't say his name. We're not going to call his name.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just telling you that's how disconnected I was.
Okay. Can you think, did he do anything at all that was a positive impact?
Oh, yeah, I think he did some things that were positive. He did a lot, actually, for churches, for certain churches, I'll say that. Mm-hmm. And he did a lot for certain communities, I'll
mm-hmm.
say that. But nothing impressive to the point where it'll make me like him.
God. Okay. All right. What was the other thing? What else did we talk about? With COVID, the presidency. I named 5 other things. What were they? Come on. Don't leave me out here. You remember what they were?
I thought we were just going to talk about one, so I kind of forgot to put the others in the back of my mind.
Uh-huh. Okay. I'll hang up with you, and then I'll think of 50 million things that we could have.
It's always like that, right?
Yeah, it's always like that. But I can't thank you enough for hanging out.
Absolutely. I'm honored to be a part of it. I enjoy what you're doing, and I respect what you're doing as well.
Mm-hmm. I can't thank you enough. I really do think it's gonna get better. I really want to, hear some things. That I analyze stuff all the time. If I'm passing by the TV or I see, let me just say this before I go. One of my favorite shows and one of my favorite TV characters is Judge Judy. Do you like Judge Judy?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you why I like Judge Judy. Because she's kind of sort of like me in that she listens to actually what's going on, and she's kind of like that. She doesn't really care about how someone feels or what they think or what they believe in, and she'll tell people all the time, don't tell me what you heard. I like that. So I kind of look forward, to analyzing, and I do it anyway. I just kind of want to do it on the platform, and I don't want to be looked at as one of those people who's like, because everybody's got a talk show. Everybody's doing something on the internet, whether it's sewing or doing everybody, and we should take advantage of it. It's technology. I just believe again. I have a gift. I think I do, and I want to try it out. I want to test it. So I'm going to get me one, and I'm going to get better at how to direct them. But I appreciate, our friendship is kind of cool. We're kind of unique, so we don't really have much bad blood. But I kind of like to get, some of those conversations where I can really get, down and dirty, where I can say what I want to say without being, too much judged. But I think, you're too nice.
You think so?
Well, I know you have a little fire streak. Because it might have came out the last time. Now that I kind of remember, I think you did kind of get jazzy with me the last conversation we had. You might have tried to tell me about myself. But yeah, I think you're a little on the nice side. And I can tell you're kind of guarding what you're saying, just like I am too. We all don't want to look bad. We want to look our best. But I think you might be a little too nice for the direction I'm really going in. Because I really I don't want to fight with anybody. But I want to deal with, some of the things we tried to avoid in conversations, and, we didn't get into anything too personal. But I think it's a matter of time. I'm going to get better at this, and I'm going to get some topics and conversations and even some personalities that's going to, be not a better, but a different display of what it is I'm trying to bring awareness to, and that's simply paying attention to what we're saying, why we're saying it, why we're motivated, particularly by our feelings as opposed to, either proof, facts, or even the truth. Sometimes we make a big deal out of something. We have what we call rackets or stories that we repeat in our head, and then before you know it, we're off believing it and then living our lives based on a story as opposed to the real truth. So yeah, I think it's going to be good. I'm excited about it, and again, gosh, thank you. This is an hour of time. I mean, you probably worth, you know, $2,000 or $3,000 an hour, but you kind of donated it to me, and I appreciate it. So, whenever I do start balling and banging, I'll put you down for an hour's worth of your time at the tune of about $3,500. You'll be okay taking a check from me later, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm honored to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you.
Okay, and before we go, this has been Swym Pwym. I am Travis Bridges. Swym Pwym is say what you mean and play what you mean. We're focusing on how we listen, how we hear, how we understand, and how all of that affects two people or more than, just how it affects conversation, listening, understanding, hearing, making sure we understand, and then being able to walk away from any kind of situation at peace, even if we don't like, what we hear, and being able to deal with what really is, and as opposed to more of how we feel, because the ego and the flesh is a mess. We already know that. So again, I'm just trying to bring awareness to proof, facts, and truth as it relates to thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. So again, thank you, sweetheart. I love you so much.
Thank you, and I love you more.
And listen, we've been talking about it. You're going to have to come down and hang out, or I'm going to have to come up that way, and we're going to sit down and eat a sandwich.
Absolutely.
On me, I'm buying. So I don't know when that's going to happen, but we need to sit down and, nibble on something and chat again, chat some more.
I look forward to that.
All right. Well, you have yourself a good old night. And until we listen, I'm looking at, I'm on my laptop and I'm down here trying to find my cursor so I can log off, but it's up here. So I'm going to go. Thank you again. Any closing words, thoughts, views, comments before we dip?
No, just thank you for having me, and I enjoyed the conversation.
You got it. All right. Have a good night, and I love you.
You too. Love you too.
Okay. Bye.